Hello, every pony, and this is going to be the beginning of Chapter 2, Princess Molestia, and hopefully I will stop in a better place this time. Oh, thank you so much again, Twilight, for helping me with the Crusaders. I can't imagine what would have happened had you and Fluttershy not shown up. Oh, it's no problem, Rarity. I was just glad to help. Well, we sure as sugar do appreciate. Oh, wait, that's not Rarity. Well, we sure as sugar do appreciate y'all giving us a hoof. Maybe there's something we could do to make up for it? Ooh, idea! Rarity announced as she raised a hoof proudly. Since Fluttershy is letting the Crusaders sleep over at her place again, how about I take you both over to my place for a sleepover of our town? Well, shucks, that there sounds like a mighty fine idea. Don't you think, Twi? Applejack said. Well, it would be fun and all, but Spike is still asleep upstairs, Twilight claimed, hesitation in her voice. It's really late, and I'm not sure if I should leave him alone for the night. Oh, don't worry, darling. I'm sure Owlicious won't mind looking over him a little while he's asleep. Well, I guess it couldn't hurt. I'll head over to the library and let him know to take care of Spike. Then I'll be right over, okay, girls? Take your time, Twi. Me and Rarity will be the place set up for you, okay? Alright, sounds great, girls. I'll see you in a bit. With that, Twilight Sparkle trotted down from atop the hill in one direction as Applejack and Rarity left in another, the night sky above them emanating just enough light for them to find their way in the dark streets of Ponyville. It did not take long for Twilight to reach the library, and it took an even shorter time for her to gather a few things and let Owlicious know of her plans for that night. After her short preparations, Twilight left the library and headed straight for Rarity's house, a smile on her face with high expectations for the night she was about to have. Inside the library, it was pitch black, the perfect environment for a night owl. What's more, Twilight wasn't going to be home, and Spike was already fast asleep in the room upstairs. A perfect opportunity for some late-night hunting. Owlicious took flight as he headed up to one of the open-nable windows, gently using his wing to creak it open just enough for him to fly out towards the edge of Everfree for a late-night snack. It was just a quick trip, and he would probably be back in about 20 minutes or so. What could happen while he was away? Back in the library, the darkness still loomed, and not a single creature lurked or stirred in the dead of night. It was only a minute or so after Owlicious left, however, that the calming darkness was interrupted by a loud thud coming from the balcony of the library. Outside, a set of hoofsteps could be heard, and then the door to the balcony opened magically, allowing entrance to a dark figure which slid in quietly. The figure seemed to look around slowly, taking careful examination of the setting around it. Again it moved, slowly, making its way down the balcony and towards the opposite side of the library. The figure was like that of a pony, except larger, with its mane lightly sparkling in the darkness. There was also a very quiet, yet distinct chatter coming from the figure, as if it were the sound of jittery teeth from a freezing pony. The figure continued on, now reaching the bottom of the stairs to the bedroom above. It examined the stairs for a quick moment before beginning its ascension, slowly and quietly moving up towards the door. As it reached the top, the figure abruptly stopped and listened closely. There was a sound on the other side. The sound of, what was it? Snoring. It was now apparent that the rhythmic sounds coming from the other side of the was obviously that of light snoring. It was now apparent that the rhythmic sounds coming from the other side was obviously that of light snoring. The figure faced the door directly, and a long yet thin cone on its head began to shine with magic. The door opened, as the figure entered slowly, taking care to be even more quiet than before. It approached the bed, and it took a second to examine it. Empty! There was no pony sleeping in the bed. However, on the far side of the room, a noticeable lump was rising and falling in a smaller bed, at the exact spot the snoring seemed to be coming from. The figure then began approaching this smaller bed, its cone once again shimmering with magic. The sheets that were originally covering the lump slowly began to slide off, revealing a purple and green scaled body resting in the bed. As the figure drew even closer, the small dragon began to stir slightly, obviously reacting to having its colors taken away. "Where's my blankie?" Spike mumbled softly, having been unexpectedly hit with the cool rush of air. His eyes still closed, he reached his claws around for his blanket, but couldn't find it anywhere on one side. He checked the other side, but again the blanket wasn't there. Did it slide off the bed? Spike didn't know, but his slumber was now fully disturbed. He shivered slightly, another soft yet cool blow of air whisking against his scales. Spike shivered slightly and hoped dearly that he would find his blanket soon, or else he would have to actually get up to go look for it. Another blow of air, except this one was warmer. Spike didn't notice it first and continued to irritatedly claw around for his beloved blanket, eager to get back to sleep. Another blow of air, this time much more noticeable and a bit warmer as well. Spike stopped. Was there a heater in here? He couldn't remember. He couldn't remember Twilight putting one in. As he thought for another moment, the third blow of air came in, this one stronger and hotter than the others. Spike could now feel the little bits of humidity in the air that was being blown on him, and it finally dawned on him. Twilight, are you breathing on me? He said, lazily leaning up in his bed, his right hand scratching his head with his eyes just starting to open. You know, Twilight, I really enjoy sleeping without you blowing down my neck. Ugh. I missed the scroll. It was at this moment that Spike looked at and saw through the darkness the large, not Twilight figure standing before him. Another breath of hot, warm air blew against him as the cone above the figure's head lit up, revealing its figure with the magically conjured light. Princess Celestia, Spike asked, baffled at the princess's presence. What are you doing in... Spike was interrupted by the sudden appearance of Celestia's tongue, which slithered down and licked slowly from his stomach, all the way up his chest and neck, gliding across his face and even the top of his spine on his head. Spike froze, as his face plastered with shock and disgust as he tried to register exactly what had just happened. Celestia? Spike asked, his voice shaking and now stuttering slightly. His eyes adjusting to the light, he could not see the princess's face. Distorted by a large, wild grin, her eyes slightly bloodshot, with her pupils withered down into tiny black beads. Her teeth also jittery, and her bottom lip had a drop of drool slowly sliding down towards her chin. Spike reared his head back, subtly trying to distance himself from this apparently insane figure of what he somehow believed was Princess Celestia. Spike, Celestia finally spoke, her words sending a cold, harsh shiver down Spike's spine. It was her voice, except distorted somehow, manipulated to sound somewhat more like a creature than like the normal elegance it had. Spike started to scoot back, Celestia's piercing gaze beginning to strike fear into Spike's little heart. As if everything he held inside of him, every piece of what's made up of his characteristics and his being, were suddenly pulled open and being examined by the same eyes that were boring onto him now. The princess took a step forward, keeping the distance between the two the same as Spike continued to try and scoot away. Spike, where is she? The princess said, using the same tone as before. What? Spike gulped hard, his voice cracking as his brain tried to feed some sort of words towards his mouth, being blocked by the storm of utter confusion and shock that raged in his mind. What? Where's who? Twilight, Celestia replied, adding a large, hearty breath to her word. Where is Twilight Sparkle, my most prized pupil? She's not here? Spike glanced over to Twilight's bed, and sure enough, the bed was empty. Celestia spoke again, sending another moist wave of hot air against Spike's already wet body. No. Now tell me, where is she? Spike knew he was running out of options. Perhaps Twilight had gone out to one of her friends' places, or just went out for a stroll somewhere. At the same time, Spike tried to find his happy place, a place he could go away to and not be in his horrible situation, a place with gems, with wonderful decorations, with all sorts of wonderful marble stones and a large cave, with Rarity. Rarity? Maybe Twilight went to Rarity's house. It would surely get the princess out of here and... He had to protect Rarity. But he couldn't just sit there and say nothing. Pardon my coughing. The princess might get upset and do something truly not good to him. His mind raced. He tried to think of the one place Twilight could never be, and that maybe no pony would be at this time of night. Each moment, though, he could feel Celestia's breath get stronger. each blow of air swirling its hot humidity around him and involuntarily beginning to warm his blood. Spike struggled for a solution, for an answer of some sort, somewhere deserted, yet somewhere some pony would obviously go to, somewhere like, maybe she, went to, Rainbow Dash's place. Yeah. Celestia raised her head slightly, her eyes breaking away from Spike's as she thought to herself. Of course, it was so obvious. Perhaps Twilight was having a sleepover at her friend's house, and if she found her, perhaps there would be one of the other mares around that she could feel at the same time.